My name is Saad Smith. I studied in the Arts Management program with a major in art history and a minor in studio. I graduated in 2009 and I'm currently the curator at the Doris McCarthy Gallery at U of T Scarborough. So in my undergraduate program, I had a lot of one-on-one time with professors, and I felt that it was a really wonderful learning opportunity. I remember a lot of the conversations I had with instructors, and because of the small class sizes and the conversational-based type of learning, I felt really connected to my instructors. I felt like they were truly invested in my success. And to this day, I still keep in touch with some of my teachers, Jerry Helwig and Tanya Mars. I see Will Kwan on campus now. So it's really incredible to be on this side of my academic experience and consider them colleagues when they were once my instructors. So it's really amazing. After I graduated, I knew I wanted to continue with school. I didn't know what I wanted to do career-wise, but I knew I loved learning. So I applied to a couple of programs and I got into the Masters of Visual Studies at U of T St. George. And I was the youngest person in my program. I was the only one who was fresh out of school. I was with two other curators who had established curatorial practices. And the program was so heavy in theory, and I had so much work to do to catch up. And I had the worst imposter syndrome and felt like they made a mistake by accepting me and I didn't belong. And I learned very quickly that in order to succeed, my work could not just fit within coursework. I had to look at artists, I had to go to exhibitions, I had to read beyond what was in my course lists. And it was a very humbling experience to feel that I had so much more to go and so much more to learn, working with curators who had already established practices and experiences. In undergrad, I did really well in my courses, and I did the work that was prescribed in my courses. When I got to grad school, that wasn't going to cut it for me. I had to do beyond that. And it also served me in my career as well, that it's not just what's prescribed, it's what goes beyond. After I graduated, I worked for Art Museum. My program advisor during grad school hired me on contract to do some research on the permanent collection. And in tandem, I also worked at the Varley Art Gallery of Markham, and I was the education supervisor there. And so for years, I was juggling two part-time jobs. And as much as I gained a lot of experience in learning how to work with people, learning how to work with artists, learning how to write about art and how to talk about art, I wasn't building my curatorial practice at all, and I was so overwhelmed and busy in working two jobs. So that experience taught me that I needed to do things beyond the scope of what my jobs were, and I had to start building my own curatorial practice. So I started applying to different art spaces and pitching different exhibitions. I started pitching different writing proposals to publications and starting to rebuild my curatorial practice. And that helped a lot. I ended up working at the Koffler Gallery for my first full-time job as in public programming. And then I gained my first curatorial gig at the Visual Arts Center of Clarington. Oh gosh, I did that 4 years ago. And that was like a big deal to me. It was a huge accomplishment that I was a curator and I had a job. But it took a long time to get there. And I never thought that I would be a curator now at the DMG, which is like a dream opportunity that I never anticipated to happen. It was a lot of presentations and research and curatorial pitches that I felt like I didn't know enough artists, I didn't know enough theory, I was still learning so much. I wasn't practicing enough to have that depth of knowledge, and that really instilled in me that if I wanted to be a curator, that I had to commit myself to learning and seeing and reading all the time. And that's what I do now. My job is not just, it's not a computer job that's just administrative. I'm constantly reading about artists, going to see shows, going to see things on the weekends, trying to capitalize on my social time to take friends to exhibitions. I take my daughter out to shows. So it's become a part of my life, but I've had to adjust it because I love it so much, number one. But number two is that I always have to know what's going on. I would say the biggest takeaway for me is humility. I had to fail publicly a lot. I had to own the fact that I was young and I didn't know a lot and I was learning. And it's a very difficult thing to fail in public and to feel like people know more and you are still so behind. And that's what it felt like. But that experience built empathy in me, and it built kind of a desire to help people who are still learning. I'm still learning. So I own the fact that I say, I don't know the answer to that question and I'm still learning. And I say it all the time, and I'm always going to still learn. And that's okay. And that's part of the process. It doesn't end. But I had to really learn that the hard way. And I think that, people come with different sets of knowledge, and our sets of knowledge each has its own value, and you have to own the fact that your own experiences are a wonderful resource of knowledge, and that will continue to grow over time. What I would say to my first or second year self is strap up. It's gonna be a long, hard road, but it's gonna be worth it. There will be times that you wanna give up, but nothing in life worth having comes easy. Everything that is of value comes with hard work, and if you really want something and you dedicate yourself to it, you will get there. And it might not happen next year or the year after. It might happen, in my case, 13 years later, but it will happen.